Hey everyone, on this episode of Teeter Talks, I get to have an amazing conversation with my friend Jessica Janzen. She is a speaker, she's an amazing speaker. She is an author, she is a coach, and she has her own foundation that her and her husband started in honor of their son Lewiston, who passed. She has an incredible story about joy and finding joy and working hard to keep joy. She's immensely successful. She's so powerful. You are going to enjoy this conversation very much. Everyone, please enjoy my chat with my friend, Jessica Janzen. Hi, Jess.
I just said third time's the charm, baby.
Because it's not like you and I have tried to record this 3 times. This will be our third time, yes, trying to record this. The Wi-Fi gods were not in our favor the last couple of times, so we are hoping for the best.
It's a Christmas miracle. I can feel a Christmas miracle in July is happening right now.
Christmas. Have you seen those Christmas in July movies playing on the Hallmark network or whatever network that is? It's like
No.
they're stretching out those, those cheesy romantic comedies, but now they're like Christmas in July, so they can just run them all summer and then right into Christmas, and we'll all get our fill of, ridiculous romantic comedies.
I love a good rom-com, so I hope to
I
write
hear
one
you.
one day.
I hear you. I hear you. What I love the best is that my parents really get into them, and it's adorable. Like they watch every single one, fully knowing that they all end the same, and generally the plot is fairly much the same. But yeah, but it's great to have you. Thank you for being here. I have to say, I've been following you on social media for a long time. I'm such a fan of your messaging, and we'll talk about your story, but just you as a person, how you show up. I remember my first thoughts being, this woman is brave. This woman is so brave. She's so wonderful. I mean, yes, you're gorgeous, you're smart, you're articulate, you're all these amazing things, but you are brave how you put yourself out there. And I remember just thinking, take a few cues from this woman, Marissa. She's unapologetically her. You just seem so comfortable in your own skin. And I had the great fortune of meeting you, and I didn't know I was about to meet you. We ended up in Nashville together in December at an event at a speakers conference. And I walk in the room and I thought, there's no way that's her, but I think it's her. And I totally stalked you from across the room. And I have to say, you are even more all of those things I just said in person. You're so energetic. You're just like sprinkling energy and joy everywhere you go. So I have to say, it was such a pleasure meeting you. But I'd like to know, how do you maintain, and we'll get into this a little bit more about your story, but where do you find your energy? How do you dig that deep and show up that way every single day?
It's so funny that you asked me this question because I am in a season right now where I don't feel like my energetic, joyful self. Like I'm fighting for my joy right now. Like currently, like
Mm.
having to work really hard. I've worked really hard for joy, and my next book is called. It's titled "The Hard Work of Joy," and it's about like I think people just think that joy arrives, or like if I
Mm.
achieve these things, then joy will happen, or if I get this thing, then joy will happen. That's more of happiness. It's like money can't buy happiness, but it can buy me, whatever it is. And in this season, what I'm realizing is that like joy takes intentional work, and same with energy. And I had a wake up call, which really shifted a lot for me in how I've stopped holding back.
Mm.
And I just was watching Stephen Bartlett just got like named Times 100 most influential people, I think was the award. And
Okay.
I was reading his post about it, and he said the price of entry and the price of success is embarrassment. And I think,
Oh.
and I was like, oh, he's like, you have to suck at something before you get momentum. And I think like we are sometimes too embarrassed or too self-conscious to be like our most authentic selves for fear that it's too much or we won't fit in, or like I know I am not corporate America's ideal person. However, I found the role, and I think I just became my most authentic self. And in that, I still get to work with corporate America, but in a role that better fits me. And so I think the price for me was like letting go of all the stories I had told myself for a really long time of like, because when I was a little girl, and I had an amazing childhood, I have amazing parents who are loving and kind. I don't have any childhood trauma other than like my parents made us work growing up because we had a farm, and it was like, don't sleep in summer. Dad's coming from the shop. Everybody look alive. Like that was my childhood trauma. Like, okay, we had to work. And so
Yep.
I had this beautiful childhood, but my parents, and not trying to shame me, but they were like, don't be too much, don't be too bossy. And so like you had those stories and it's like, oh, dial back, or oh, don't try not try to be a leader. And now like I literally had someone call me bossy a little while ago. I was like, actually it's not bossy. I'm just very assertive and confident. I know exactly what I want and I'm not afraid to tell people. And then I just walked away. So I was like,
Yeah.
this isn't bossy. Someone's got to get this done. And I'm the one to do it. And if you don't like my style, that's fine. Like I'm here to get a job done, not become your best friend. And so the fight for joy and the fight for energy is very intentional. And the first part of it was and if people know my story, if they don't, my son got diagnosed with this rare genetic disease. And we made our life very public as he was fighting for his life. He was 2 months old when he got the diagnosis. He passed at 6 months. And I remember the 1 year mark of him passing. I remember exactly where I was driving. And I was like, man, I've been holding back and playing small for fear of like, what will these people think? And I still struggle with it. I wish I could say,
Mm-hmm.
oh man, this doesn't bother me at all. I just do whatever the F I want, whenever the F I want. Try, see, I'm keeping it clean here. She said, don't
Thank
steer too
you.
much,
Yep.
which is hard for me to do. And I just remember being like, man, I'm living my life for other people that aren't paying my bills, that aren't taking care of my kids, that aren't living and sleeping with my husband. And isn't it crazy that we let
Yeah.
random strangers on the internet or, people only that are connected with us at a distance speak into and influence how we show up? And what I will say is when I stopped trying to fit in and be like, everyone's cup of tea and just like focus on being who I came to be and who I was designed to be, man, the freedom in that. And I think I stopped wasting energy on like people's opinions. I stopped wasting energy and trying to fit in. I was just like, I'm just going to go do what I want, how I want. And not to say that I'm not mindful of those around me, but I've just been like, it's okay if like people think I'm a wackadoodle. Like people think, I think a lot of things, people don't even think I'm that smart because I'm so vibrant or vivacious or I'll dance in the middle of the room and I don't care. And I actually don't know necessarily how brilliant I am. And I kind of like that that's like my secret weapon because I'm super curious and I look at things differently. So, in a roundabout way, joy and energy is not something that you just arrive at. It's something that you work for. I think letting go of other people's opinions and just start living into authentically who you know that you were made to be. And then secondly, I think it is really about like learning to take care of yourself and following your blueprint. Not the blueprint on the internet, not the blueprint that's trending on social media, not the blueprint of like what Susan who lost 20 pounds is not what she's doing, but understanding your own body's blueprint and what it needs to be in a state of thriving. And I don't look at how I take care of myself as selfish or I'm not a good mom or I can't believe I'm going to do that. I'm like, these are the bare ass minimum things that I need to do so I can show up well in my business. I can show up well as a
Mhm.
parent and I can show up well as a partner. And I wish I could say I have it perfectly dialed, but there are all these seasons I have no balance, but there are all these seasons when I'm flat out with work, or then now I'm going to be flat out with my kids in the summer. I'm going to be flat out, in our fundraising efforts. And so I think it's learning just to embrace those seasons and then just to find that flow because there is no such thing as balance.
Well, I agree. I don't like that term balance because it implies equal parts and it puts so much pressure on you to kind of have it all figured out and give just as much time here as you do there. And, the idea of seasons is very powerful, giving people the space and the grace to be like, you know what, right now I'm really all in on this, but it's not going to be like this forever. I think we get too caught up in making decisions or looking at life in terms of I'm this person and this is how I show up and this is who I am and this is what I'm going to do. And I have to, maintain this level of consistency. And I think I see messaging out there about the most successful people are the most consistent people, and that doesn't mean they're consistent in the same thing all the time. It could just be they're consistent in the season that they're in, with the project that they're working on, with the commitments they've made in that moment. You absolutely have to create space for changing your mind, for evolving, for pivoting, for stopping, for restarting. And I love that you talk about the work that goes into joy and energy, because I do think a lot of people, and for me, like I look at someone like you, and of course, my first assumption is, how does she do it all? How does she do this? How does she put herself out there? I'm gonna have to say I've been in your presence. Your energy is contagious, and it's a funny thing when you talk about needing the quote about having to be okay being embarrassed. It doesn't mean you are embarrassing yourself or others, but you're open to it. And there's just something that happens when you don't. We look at kids, right? They don't think about being embarrassed all the time. They're when those at those young ages, and they're just being free, and they're having a blast. And you're like, oh my gosh, I wish I could not care what people, and because that's really what it comes down to, which is what you also said, is that we really consume too much energy worrying about what other people are thinking, which newsflash, no one's thinking about us. This is a lesson I've learned over and over again. People are not paying as much attention to you as you think they are. And the ones that are, give them a show. Honestly, it's, it took me so many years to figure this out. And I've told this story so many times, but I remember, you know, being nominated for a local award. It was a mayor's award for my volunteer work. I was so proud. And, my husband's like, let's get a bunch of people together. Let's go to this gala. Let's get a table. And I was like, no, I don't, people are going to think I'm conceited. And my husband's like, who are these people? And I'm like, well, people. He's like, well, no, who are these people? They sound terrible. Like, why would they hate you for winning a volunteer award? And I was like, well, you know what I mean? It's like the proverbial people. He's like, well, I don't think you should care what proverbial, hypothetical, symbolic people think. And I just, it caught me. Like, I was a grown woman in my 30s. And I remember thinking, wow, I have been letting people, quote unquote, who I couldn't necessarily put a face to or a name to, dictate a lot of my actions and a lot of my choices. And really, that's just me being afraid. It's just me coming up with excuses. It's just me holding back, worried about something that may never even happen. Talk about saving energy. How much money, sorry, there's my mind going right to the finances. How much energy do we waste preparing comebacks or preparing rebuttals or just being consumed by what people are potentially thinking about us?
Or
And
justification about like,
yes.
yeah, it's insane. And
Yeah,
I
letting
still
that
struggle with
go.
it. It's not like you have, I don't think like I've just arrived at this place. This is the constant battle. And I also think this is the cost of entry for the work that I do. Like in the coaching environment where you and I met, first off, I just want to say thank you for acknowledging that, because that is one of the greatest compliments for me, because what you
Mm.
see online isn't a false, what's the word? Falsity, not falsity. Is
Yeah,
that the word?
we'll go with falsity. Yeah, it's
Sure.
not false advertising. You are who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so that for me is the greatest compliment, because I am joyful and energetic, and I just show up, and I do, when I film a story, I do one take. I don't spend 18 hours. Like, it's like, I just do the thing and move on, because I can't be consumed by it being perfect for other people. Otherwise I wouldn't get anything done. And so thank you for that compliment. But one of the biggest things that I've been working on is like becoming a joy expert. And that's what I'm known for. Like, people hear my name, they associate it with joy. I wrote a book called Bring the Joy. I'm working on this next book. And that's really what I love empowering people to do, is access more joy. But this has been, I didn't just get here. This has been
yeah,
like slogging it away, begging for like, man, can I just catch a break? Can I just can I just have five?
yeah.
And honestly, I'm in a season right now where like I'm like, you talk about seasons. I just went off. You were on that. I mean, I call it a bender. It's a work bender, like travel bender. And let
I'm
me be
thrilled I
clear.
was part of your bender.
Yeah.
Yes.
We had a
Yeah.
bender. We had a breakfast at a hotel, and then you drove me to
Mhm.
the airport. But I was on a tear, and June was an incredible month, and I'm so grateful for it. But there was a cost to that.
Of
And the
course.
cost of like all these incredible experiences and all these opportunities and all this fun was, is that like, and in the work that I do, I share a very personal story that takes me back into not a trauma state, but like I relive these moments that are really, really hard and filled with trauma, in hopes to help other people see themselves in the story and say, oh, I don't have to be a victim to my circumstances. Like, I don't have to lug my suitcase of suffering. I can find forward momentum, and I
Mm,
can live a full life, even though my life looks like a dumpster fire right now, or this isn't the plan. As you know, walking through your own family stuff of just like, wait, that's not the way it's supposed to go.
right.
So I
Yeah.
share that because I feel called to, but there's a cost to work. So I'm in a season right now where like a bunch of my friends, like I said no to every invite over the last 2 weeks. Hey guys, sorry, I'm tapping out. My therapist was like, you're mentally unwell. She was like, you need to plug in your batteries. And when she said that, and my husband literally asked me at the end of the therapy session, he checks in because he knew I had therapy. He goes, how'd it go? I was like, my therapist said I'm mentally unwell. He calls the phone. I'm like, I can't talk right now. I literally am going to my next meeting. I love you. He's like, you can't leave me with you're mentally unwell and then hang up on
Could
me.
you be more specific? Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, are you okay? Are you going to be
Yeah.
okay? What do you need? This is kind of like, he's like bracing for impact. And like, there is a cost
Yeah.
to going at certain speeds. And also there's a cost to this work, that for me to show up well with energy means that like, now I'm going quiet. Now I'm like just focusing on my kids and my family. And now I will not be at every event. Now I will say no to some of my closest friends that just want to hang out, because I've been, focus on other areas. And some of that is awesome. And some of that's really hard because it's hard to be like, oh man, I gave so much over in that area. And now I can't do this. But
Yep.
that's what I'm realizing about joy, and not wasting time on trying to wish that you were over somewhere else. Is like, you know what, there's joy right now. There's joy in a messy kitchen. There's joy that I've got 4 kids in my home, not mine personally, but we're shifting childcare and all of this. And the joy was yesterday at dinner. Like, I mean, I was drained. I was doing all these emails. I got 5 no's yesterday, 5 no's on speaking holds. Let me tell you,
Oh,
people, that is a massive chunk of revenue. And it
that
was
is
like,
their loss.
oh, it is their loss. I was like, that's fine,
There is their loss.
that's fine. But
Yeah.
like,
Yep.
you're like, you tell yourself all these things. And I had like a rough day, and I was like, man, I need some freaking joy because this is a brutal day. I was like hunkering away on emails, doing all the admin stuff, all the stuff that sucks. And so I was like, I got to flip the script here. I don't want to finish off this day having a pity party. And so we did this thing where I called it an adventure dinner. I literally made it up. And I take out the craziest utensils that you have. So I'm talking spatulas and an icing knife, so it's not sharp, an icing
Yes.
knife. We had a whisk, we had like a pancake flipper, and then the kids had to answer questions, and then if they answered it right, they got to choose the utensils, and everyone had to eat dinner with a crazy utensil.
Oh
And
my
I was
goodness.
like,
That's
okay, we do this for
amazing.
5 minutes, but everybody was laughing and everybody was watching everybody. And so for me, like right now in the season of like some quiet recharge, there's still joy, there's still good moments. It just looks different.
It's such a healthy reminder. And I want to go back to what you said about me acknowledging how you're showing up. I do want to say that not all your posts are high energy, joy all the time. You're very real on there about the other side of it. And I think that's why I appreciated it so much, because I think sometimes we go a million miles a minute and you're like, is anyone else there about to lose their marbles? Or is it just me? Or, is showing up this way, what is the other side of that? Like I always say at the end of the day, my face hurts. And people are like, what does that mean? I'm like, well, no, it's from looking pleasant and smiling on video and, having these conversations with people all the time and just making sure I have a pleasant, engaged face. Cause I am happy when I'm having these conversations, I'm engaged, but and then you're thinking or you're clenching, like my face hurts at the end of the day, where I just feel like I'd like to just take my face off. I'd like to relax it and then slap it back on later. So yeah, I just want to acknowledge that you're very honest about this, the other side of, giving. You use all the fuel in your tank and then you have to recharge. And I think that's the part that people forget. They think this level of performance, high performance, needs to be consistently sustainable, which it's not. I think you have to travel at different speeds. You can be consistent going 100 miles an hour, but you can also be consistent going 30. And I think those are two very important speeds to travel at. I do want to ask you though, how would you define joy? Because one of the definitions, I had somebody on the show once, a friend, Kimberly Evans, she talks about joy. Um, and one of the biggest takeaways from my conversation with her was that joy is this emotion that can exist simultaneously with other emotions. Like you can still find joy in grief, you can find joy in tough moments. Like there's almost like, it's kind of not an all in or an all out on joy, but do you have a definition that resonates with you, or how do you describe it, or what's the concept of joy that you're trying to work towards for yourself?
Yeah, it's so funny. I actually hate this question.
Okay.
Um,
Then
no,
forget it. It's
I mean,
terrible. Yeah.
scratch it, delete this from the podcast. Let
We
me
will
just,
edit it out.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. No, that's not 202. I I hate this question because I think I don't have like like I was like, I want the succinct, like Jessica is the joy expert, thought leader in joy, and this is Jessica's definition of joy, and I don't know if I have that answer. So then it feels like, oh, am I
But
a
I think that's
falsity?
a fair thing, because I think, can't joy look different? Like I think if you would have asked me in a different season of my life what joy looks like, I mean, you mentioned it, as a family, we're going through some stuff right now. And I can tell you that joy looks differently today than maybe it would have a year ago for me, or day to
Mm,
day, what brings me joy or fills me with joy, or what I would identify as joy, or that feeling of joy. Sometimes it comes easier and sometimes it comes harder. So I don't, I'm not stuck on you having a definition, per se, but maybe just curious about how you identify it in yourself.
Yeah. It's so funny. Well, because you noticed that I was turning the camera and I was, this is one of, I mean, I love the Bible and I love Jesus. That's no secret, but this is also like another go-to. I would refer to as the Bible. It's called Atlas of the Heart by Brene Brown. And
Okay.
I
I thought
encourage,
maybe you'd like pulled out a dictionary and you were looking for like the formal definition
you're
of joy.
upset.
I'm like, woman, use your phone, put the dictionary down. Yeah.
Just going back to my encyclopedias and my dictionaries and my thesaurus over here. And you're like in book format. We were the family that had the encyclopedias in my
We were
apartment.
too. One at a time though, because we would never splurge on all of them. It was like every month we get another one for whatever price it was that came in the
Yeah.
mail. But anyways, I digress. Yeah.
What here, the reason why I go to this book is that I always give this as a resource to my coaching clients because
Mm.
like we're working through so much and I think we just kind of know top level emotions. Like if you think about inside out, joy, sadness,
Yes.
anger, and then they expand on it in inside out too. Like now there's anxiety, there's embarrassment, like there's way more emotions in it that they've done an amazing job of, I think, helping us have conversations. One of the emotions that I learned from here, two of them was anguish and sorrow. And whew,
Mm.
like there's like grief, and then there's like those deep, deep things of like, oh man, this is sorrow. This is like to the pit of my soul. I'm not just
Mhm.
sad. Like I'm in the midst of sorrow or anguish where like the ache, you can't even describe it because there's just no words for it. The word I do use is a choice word that rhymes with truck. So, and that's not a feeling. That's just how I express some
We
of.
will put that in the show notes for people who weren't able to fill in the blank there. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the two things that reason why I wanted to do this is I love how she describes joy. I love that she talks about joy and how you can spiral up towards joy. And that's what I hope other
Mm.
people do. But the two things I just wanted to point out, it says it's characterized by connection with others or with God, nature, universe. Joy expands our thinking and attention, and it fills us with a sense of freedom. And I was like, yeah,
Mm.
that is it. Because I think when you're in those most joyful moments, you're not clung to or focused on the things that hold you back. You're just most present in the moment. And I think joy that's mixed with gratitude. And he suggests that there's one other thread that I love about comes from a researcher, but Matthew Kuhn Johnson says, um, Johnson shares that while experiencing joy, we don't lose ourselves, we become more truly ourselves. And I was like, man, that
Mm.
is it. It's like you're not trying to please everybody else, like you're just in the moment. Because there's moments of happiness of like, man, this is amazing. I'm so happy. But like joy is like being truly yourself, being fully alive in that. So that if like you just need to be fully alive in your family dinner where there's balsamic vinegar spilt on the table and it's not the perfect tablescape, and there's like salt and pepper spilled everywhere, and your kids spilled juice for the third time, and you told them to be careful with the damn plastic cup and to use two hands, like you're still feeling joy in it because you're so present in the moment that you're just like, man, this is a gift and a blessing. And I think joy is paired with like a heart of gratitude, of like seeing the things that you're grateful for and not focusing on the others. And that for me is like the truest expression of joy. It's just like I feel most free and most fully present in that, and in the circumstances that it's not necessarily like, wow, I'm so joyful because my house is perfect and I have a pool in my backyard and I have a mountain view and I have this cabin in the boat. I don't have any of those things. I do have a lovely home, but it does not have a mountain view with a pool. But like I think we're waiting for those things to happen, and then joy is just like seeing what's good now and here. And I learned that lesson because I was in the hospital and I couldn't leave because my son was fighting for his life. I was like, I don't get to leave. I don't get to do the Disney trip. I don't get to do the Make-A-Wish trip. Like he was too sick to even do that. We had friends being like, here's the money. We're giving you the WestJet. What else do you need to make happen? I was like, the joy has to be in the room. Joy has to be in the
Mm.
circumstances. I cannot leave. He needs all the medical equipment, all the team. So it's like, okay, can't choose circumstances, but I can choose joy in these moments.
Wow. I hope people rewind and listen to that back. Talking about joy in the circumstances and the freedom that comes with just being in it. And I think tying it to gratitude, because I think where I'm at when I think about joy these days is the feeling of possibility. Like you said, winding up. Like you can, there's just some sort of, it's like, it's connected to hope. There's something about joy where I'm like, it's going to be okay. Like this is, and also it could be worse in some weird way. Even in those terrible moments when you find that glimpse of joy, it's just, it's so freeing to know that there are possibilities out of here, that there are possibilities to really just be here and acknowledge that here is better than maybe somewhere else. Like it just, I'm kind of tethered between this is, it could be worse, but also it'll be better. And it
Mhm.
just that possibility and the freedom to exist between the two of those, I think is very powerful. And I love those definitions. I'm glad that you found those in
Busted
the
out
book.
my other Bible. Anyways, it's a great book. Put this in the show notes because
Yeah.
uh, it's a great book to consume when you're just trying to figure out some of the things that you're feeling. And I think, especially going into perimenopause and being a female where all your hormones are changing and you're just like trying to figure
Hmm.
it out. And maybe you're walking through your own season of grief and you're like, I'm not just sad, or you can't even describe it because it's not like the typical sadness. That could be sorrow or it could be anguish. Those things for me, even her definition of contentment, I used to hate the word content
Mm,
because I was like, I don't want to be content. I'm striving for more. I'm growing. I'm
cool.
scaling my business. I'm making more money. I'm doing the things. I'm
You're
never going to be
inside my head. Yeah. Yeah.
like, honestly, I was just like, what kind of
Yeah.
psycho lunatic are you? And when I read her definition, and I'm going to pull this out because don't want to butcher it, because I think that this was also something that I needed to hear about, was when you learn to be content, and it's in actually the joy section. I should remember that. I knew it was close
Well, it's
by.
funny. There's something that, and I don't know where the connotation comes from, but about contentment that sounds like you're settling. Like there's this weird kind of settling that you're not really happy, but it's like good enough. Like that's when you say that, that's right where my mind goes, which why does it have that more negative connotation? Besides, why doesn't it just being satisfied and pleased and happy? Why do we go there? Contextually, that's where my mind goes.
So listen to this, because this was an unlock for me where I was like, man, I am content in the most powerful way. And yes, I still have this part of me because my other voice is like, we go for more, we fight at dawn. Like, and you're just like, calm down. I nicknamed my brain Larry. And I was like, Larry, chill it out. We're just going to be here in the moment. But this is what Brene writes about contentment. It says, when you're discontent, you always want more and more and more. Your desire can never be satisfied. But when you practice contentment, you can say to yourself, oh, yes, I already have everything that I really need. That comes from the 14th Dalai Lama. Contentment is about satisfaction, and that, ironically, is an unsatisfying idea for a lot of people. It just doesn't seem like enough in a world that tells us every minute we should be big and life should be OMG level exciting at all times. We somehow slipped into a way of being where a text that reads, I'll stop and get milk on my way home, earns a 4 emoji reply along with, awesome, you're number one. And by these standards, contentment feels a little meh. And she just talks about it
Mm,
being like an enoughness in
yeah.
that like we've just changed and shifted that. And when I read this, I was like, wow, I am satisfied. Like I enoughness is right here in these moments. I'm also allowed to have a drive to want more, a drive to grow, a drive to
Yeah.
scale, a drive to have the pool, a drive to have a cabin, a drive to, take my kids on adventures in these moments of, making great change, but also like just like content that it's not that I'm like settling. And I
Yeah.
think that was that correlation for me. And so just like a very powerful unlock.
It, I love that. And it makes me think of, and I've probably brought it up before, but there's a speaker that I love, Ed Milet,
Mhm.
and he talks about blissful dissatisfaction,
Mm.
where you can be blissful, which to me sounds a lot like contentment, but still be dissatisfied. Like you want to keep going, you want a little more, but it doesn't mean you're doing it to find happiness or bliss. Like you're happy, you're enjoying life. You just want to push yourself a little bit more, or you want to go a little further, or you want to experience more. You don't want to stop. There's this not really a feeling of wanting to stop. Like, oh, I'm content, I'm done. It's more like I'm content, I want to keep going. That's how wonderful I feel. Like I'm blissful, but I want to do more, and there's no guilt in that.
Mm.
um, I wonder for you, because I know the passing of Lewiston and was such a critical turning point for you to really identify who you really are and how you really want to show up. Do you see a distinct kind of before Lewiston Jess and an after Lewiston Jess, and what are the differences between those two people?
Do I see a distinct before Lewis and Jess and an after Lewis and Jess? I mean, my gut is, yeah, because how can you not be different?
Right.
Like you don't you don't fight for somebody's life. And I mean, you know what? I think lots of people, here's the thing that I'll say. I think I see a different Jess, of course, because like, how does that not shape and change
Of course.
and have impact? But I think the cool part is that like I didn't let death destroy me. I like let death define me in a better way. And I'm like a better version. My husband, a
Mm,
better version of himself. And so in that life after Lewis and with him not being here with us Earthside in the way that a parent would hope, we've become better. Like I'm
mm,
just tuned in. Like I have a heart of service now. Like you're looking for the gaps. You're looking for people that are hurting. You're seeing like, how can I show up and serve? I get asked to serve in church all the time on Sunday, and I'm like, no, X, no. When people laugh, they're like, we need you here, and I'm like, my whole life is of service. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but like I see life with a different lens. Like even
mm,
at the grocery store, when you see people like losing their for loving blessed mind, or you see people going like lunatics, or just not having patience, or all of that. And I used to be like, that person's a psychopath. Like, what the is the matter with them? And now the question that I ask is like, man, I wonder what hurt they're walking through.
mm.
Oh, man, I wonder what circumstances they got going on at home that like they don't have the tools or they don't have the help to step in and change that. And so I like who I am even more so. I thought it was pretty good before Lewiston. I had a heart of service. I did some like really good things, but I think like I just have a new uh, softness and appreciation, and then a new lens in which I will look for things or see things, so that I can step in as people did for me, because that was one of the gifts was we were never alone in our journey. We were willing to receive help, and because we were willing, complete strangers stepped in and helped us along the way.
It's beautiful. And I know you, and I know how much you lean into service. And I think to your point, what a blessing to be able to have that lens now. I mean, I don't think everybody goes this way, unfortunately. I know people who have dealt with major grief, and they carry that heavy load around every single day, and it wears them down. And they haven't been able to find that lens and that direction and that clarity to be able to grow and somehow find joy and some sort of gratitude from this perspective that you've now been given. And I know not everybody sees it that way, that and you certainly shouldn't have to go through these terrible moments in life. I'm sure you would have been a wonderful person regardless of this moment. You already were. This didn't have to happen for you to turn your life around per se, but I'm I would hope that anybody out there, including myself, should we ever go through something so hard and terrible, that we come out of it the way you did, and that we take it and share the gifts and the learnings, and really try to turn it into more joy and more hope and help others. Like that would be all I think anyone could ever ask for, but it's very, very hard. I want to, first of all, I wish I was there to give you a big virtual hug and to pass you some Kleenex. And I want to thank you for being so open
I'm
and
like,
honest and
oh my God,
lovely.
right next to me, and I'm in my luteal phase, so we're just like
All
emotionally
right. Well,
all the things.
it's,
So there you are.
I so appreciate it. So next time I see you, you're going to get an extra big hug. But I want to talk a little bit about your business, because you are a businesswoman. You have a very impressive
I'm actually
business
pretty smart,
background.
not just like a pretty face that likes a good dance party.
No,
Okay, people.
I mean, you are a pretty face that likes a good dance party, but you are also a badass in business. And I
Well,
kind of like it.
that's to be
You're like,
determined. Literally, I had to call the CRA being like, you know what? Clearly, people don't take consulting financial advice from me. I mean, you and I had this conversation the other day, right? I was like, oh, shit.
I just think anybody who's lucky enough to work with you guaranteed is coming out the other end way better off. So I know that you wrote the book, um, uh, now I've totally lost it. Bring the joy. Sorry, bring the joy, which is your whole concept and how you show up. You're bringing joy to every room. You're bringing joy to your coaching, your business.
Mhm.
I'm curious about what it is that you help clients with the most. Like, what do you get at? What problem are you generally solving? What solutions are you providing? What are you helping your clients with, do you think, the most?
Man, we should ask them. I'm like,
I will after this. No.
I know. A part of me is like, yeah, maybe we should collect some more testimonials. So I'm really fortunate in what I do. I've designed, so I'm neurodivergent. I'm very happy to talk about it because I did a full psych ed assessment. I paid $4,000 out of pocket basically to have a 15-page document to say, hey, here's all the ways that your brain is wired. And well, you might have a couple screws loose. Like literally that is what this assessment does.
Perfect.
And honestly, I wish every single human could do it
Mm,
because it connected so many dots for me.
mm.
And I'm gonna take it. Can I take a side tangent on this
Of
neurodivergent
course.
thing and then re-loop us back? But maybe remind me
Okay.
because I only took my meds while we started this podcast, and so then I'm gonna go off in a few things, and then I'm like, what did you
Don't worry.
originally
I'll
ask?
bring you back. I'll bring you back to what you help your clients with. Yes.
That is the question. I should write
Yeah.
it down. I know. I mean, this is clearly it. I look at problems differently, very much
Mm,
so, and I do that because I'm neurodivergent.
mm.
And so my diagnosis, ADHD, dyslexic, and then they looped on some PTSD with that, which I was like, no, no, I am not. I am not a war veteran. I have not gone and fought over. And that for me was, I just couldn't fathom that. And
Mm,
there's like very strict criteria to actually have a PTSD diagnosis, which is also why I fight so hard for joy because anxiety, depression, the mental health stuff is so prevalent in my life. Like there's such a fight for that. And what I realized is when I understood and I talked about like how do you access more joy, it's figuring out your blueprint. And to reloop this, I think it's like that's what I help clients do. So I've designed a business that I don't know day is ever the same for me, which I love. I think there's like
mm.
some flows and I'm still working on okay, like how can I make sure I stay consistent in certain things? I haven't posted on social media in 15 days. And honestly, I'm like, F it all. I hate this thing. I'm going off for a break here in summer because I'm like, I feel like I've just been called to shut down and I have to plug in my batteries because I know I have a really full fall coming up and I can still serve my world in a different way. It's scary though, because
Mhm.
that's where my business is generated from. But in that is understanding, helping clients understand their blueprint, and then having this deep seated belief in them that maybe they've forgotten in themselves so that they can take action on the things that they dream of and want to go and do. And part of that is an energy exchange and shift of just like, hey, let me help you get unstuck. Hey, let me help you find belief again. Hey, if you don't have belief for yourself, especially with my coaching clients, I'm like, I'm going to have it for you today. I believe that you can do it. And man, it's so much easier to have belief for other people than it is for ourselves. Because for
Mm,
ourselves, we've got our brain. For me, it's Larry being like, you're a piece of shit. You can't do it. You're not big enough. You don't have the skill set. Should have done it. Missed your opportunity. And it's really about understanding your wiring and how to shift your mindset and the science behind it. And so I do that one on one with coaching clients, but I also get to do that from the stage where it's
mhm,
like I share a story for people and their story could look completely different. What I've learned in all of the keynotes that I've done is that there's actually a lot of people that have walked through the same really brutal circumstances of losing a child or losing a loved one. Whether it's a family member, an aunt, a brother, a sister, a cousin, or a child, or a near and dear friend who is like family, we've all have death in common. And so I help people connect to like their tough story, but then also to see that there's a better way to do it. To see that like
mm,
you don't have to bring your suitcase of suffering, to see that you don't have to be a victim to your circumstances, and it's truly shifting perspective and then giving them permission to go again. Giving them permission that even though they've wanted to quit 20 times, even though they've wanted to quit or given up or just like stop taking action, that they can get started again. And I think that is truly my superpower is helping people have that. And I've always been a cheerleader. I was a cheerleader in high school, but it's such a gift to be able to cheer for other people. I will be the craziest parent, not in like a we need to care. I cheer for both teams at the events. Like if this little girl had a play, she's playing flag football with all these boys on the weekend. I was like, "That a girl! Let's get." She was on the other team. They whooped my son's
they're
team's
like,
butt.
"Do you know her?" You're like, "Never met her in my life, but very proud of her."
I'm going
Yeah.
to cheer
I'm
for
that
her.
mom.
Right. Like she had a great play. She ran hard.
Yeah.
She listened
Yeah.
to her coach. Like I was
Yeah.
like, I
Your
want to
kids
cheer.
tell you, Mom, stop it. You're so embarrassing. You don't even know those people. Why are you cheering them on? Why? Or just stop talking altogether. My kids are like, I know you're just saying positive things, but we don't need any more positive reinforcement. We're doing fine. Just shush. Like my kids shush me.
Oh, my son got into the truck and he goes, Mom, because the kids were just sitting on the sideline and there was no coach. I was like, And the kids are literally like, I mean, these are 6-year-old boys, but they're literally like picking up the turf and like not even focused on the team. And it was like, no one's asking me to do it, but I can't hold myself. I tried for the first quarter. I tried to sit there, and then my soul came over me. My body was like, "We're moving, and we're gonna sit with these boys." I was like, "Boys, we're either running plays or we're cheering for a team. You get to choose which one." And I'm throwing the football and I'm coaching them. I don't even know how to practice throwing the football properly, but I can throw a decent
It doesn't
spiral. So I
matter.
was like, clearly, they're
Yeah.
6. There we go. And I want people to be the best versions of themselves. I want people to live a life that's on fire and alive. And if I can help somebody else access that belief, get unstuck, and start taking action, there it is.
I love that. We all need a cheerleader. And if we don't have that person in our lives, then you need a coach. You need to pay someone, and it's worth it. And this is obviously very self-serving as I say this, because you and I are both business coaches and we're both life coaches in that space working on people's lives. And I don't call myself a life coach, but the reality is a lot of the clients that I work with, we get into the details of their lives, because how can you show up better in your business, in your work as an executive, as a business owner, if the other pieces of your life are falling apart, or if you're not feeling good about yourself outside of those four walls or outside of your business title? And I think you hit the nail on the head. I think so many people, we know what we have to do. We know,
You don't
what
even
needs to be
have to
done.
decide to.
It's just how am I going to pull this off? How am I capable? And then the doubt sets in and the question marks about, do I have the confidence to do this? Do I have the ability? It's like, how can I show up for myself and others and do this thing? And getting people there, getting people to the starting line and just slowly pushing them over the edge and getting them going is so powerful. And I hope everyone has a cheerleader in their life, but not everybody does. I hope people have multiple people. I hope people have a whole team, but not everyone does. And I see the work that you do and how you show up for, your clients on stage, the messaging and the work you do for clients. And it's so important for people to get unstuck and to build momentum for how they show up so they can live the life they want to live. Yeah, I think that's amazing. I love the work that you do.
Thank you.
Um, Curious about, this is a topic. Oh, what were you going to say?
Can I just add to that? Because this is the
Yeah.
number one question. I just feel nudged to share it. And my whole book is about following the nudges of your damn heart.
Mm-hmm.
Also, plug, you can find it on Amazon. Yes, it
Yes,
does
you can.
support me. Thank you, Jeff Bezos. Everyone's hating on Jeff, but like Jeff empowers a lot of local authors to sell their damn books. So let's just focus on the good. Because my book wouldn't be accessible otherwise in the way of
Right.
ease that it is now. So I choose to focus on that, not hating on all the negativity. And that wasn't what I wanted to share. What I wanted to share was one of the number one questions that I get asked is, how do I find community? Like,
Oh,
how do I find
yeah.
community? And I think people are looking for it in their workplace. I think people are looking for it in their neighborhood. People are looking for it with a group of girls. I know so many females that like have had losses of friendships as you step into a new phase, or maybe things have shifted with your original group of friends. Not
Mm-hmm.
everyone's following the same way or as career driven. Like my friends are always like, "You're so career driven," and I have a special group of friends that gets me, the Impact 11 crew, where they get the drive and what we're working towards, and the energy that it takes. But if I can share anything, if somebody is in a season where they're having a hard time believing for themselves, they don't have like that great environment of amazing women or men. I have a lot of men that cheer me on, and not in a weird, creepy way. And like, hey, we believe in you, and like we've got your back, and we're here to support you. Or how can we come alongside you? And what a powerful place that is. But my number one advice is, if you are lacking in community, if you
Mm.
feel alone, you have to get up off of your couch. You have to put your phone down. And if you are looking to start building community, go to a group fitness class.
Mm.
And you don't have to be the most fit in the room. You can be 100, you can be 200 pounds of weight, but you just got to go into the room. And you got to treat people the way you want to be treated. So when I walk into a fitness group, the reason why I say start there is because those are like-minded individuals who want to grow and don't want to settle. They could be content with their life, but
Sure.
there's right with the version of
Yeah.
contentment that like there's enoughness, the content that like it's like you have that relaxed at peace. I just encourage people, go to a group fitness class and show up for others the way that you want to be shown up for. And then when you are in a moment of need, or you're in a season where you don't feel like you have the energy, the juice, or the belief, you will have other people there that,
Mm.
because you've poured into them, they'll pour back into your life. And it will 99% of the time be the people you least expect it to be.
Yeah.
So stop looking for the neighbor or a group of girls that used to do it, and just be open to a complete stranger that you've never met, that might be the person on the bench beside you in the fitness room.
I love that advice. And I think people sometimes develop friendships by proximity, where these people are just kind of around me, like the parents of my kids' friends. Now I've got a great group of parents of my kids' friends, but I would say these people are kind of around. So to your point, like they're around me, they're my neighbors, or I see them all the time at soccer, or I work with them. And so by proximity, these should be my people. And I'm not saying don't be friends with these people, but sometimes you got to work a little harder to find your people and figure out, yeah, like what are the places where I show up, where there would be likely people who are showing up for the same reasons I am. And that's a deeper reason to be connected. And I think the gym's a great example. I also think doing volunteer work, I
Oh,
encourage all of my clients to go. And there is in everyone's city, there's some sort of hub where they list a whole bunch of different types of volunteer jobs or different things you can do. Or there's definitely someone who's connected and in the community. Go do something, because people there could have been somewhere else. They're not getting any fame and glory from showing up here. Whatever. They're there because they want to be there. They want to do good for whatever reason. Maybe they're healing something. Maybe they're showing up for something. Maybe they're supporting a cause because they're, trying to heal from something else. Whatever it is, there is enough there to connect people for the right reasons too. And yeah, I encourage people to find their people. I've made so many new friends in the last few years of my life, as my life has evolved, as I've gone through different seasons. I consider you a friend, even though we've been in the same room together twice in our lives. And it's
but it
funny
was a
how
good
that works. Yeah, but it was a good time. I think, and it's funny because you said that about community. There's something I picked up on from your social media, and I loved it. You posted something about your friend group being really weird and random in the best way, and I feel that too.
yes.
Like when I've brought some of my friends together, it's like, some of them are 15 years younger than me, some of them are 15 years older than me. I met you here, I met you there. We have, like, in some ways, we have nothing in common, but everything in common. It's such a weird mishmash, but these are my people, and these are the people that I connect with, and I'm constantly making new friends. And it's a big exciting part of my life, is figuring out who my people are.
And what a beautiful thing. But I think so many of us have thought that friendship or groups of friends have to look a certain way, or
Yeah.
this is my
Or
problem.
last forever. They don't have to last forever. Yeah.
Totally. And I think then I also feel like you see these groups that are always doing stuff, and it's like the core four, and you want to be invited, but you're not part of it. And I just have made peace, and I'm so grateful. I have this amazing friend that I go to church with, and she also runs a nonprofit and is just an incredible human that serves in such a big way. But she's like, just like, you're not called to fit in. Like, don't worry about fitting in. She's like, you're called apart,
Mm,
called apart, so it looks different. And so my friend group is like, they're like, how are you friends? You're like, oh, randomly through this and randomly through that, and like none of them are
yeah.
intermixed. But then when they come together for whatever reason, they're like, oh man, I got to talk, they are so cool, man, they're such good people. And that for
Mm-hmm.
me is like the reassurance, and also like I think just like the encouragement of like, man, I have good people in my life. It doesn't look the typical way that I think
Yes.
we think it should when we had these ideations when we were little girls of what it looks like, but it sure is good and a blessing. And if you do have the core for it, and that's like your, what amazing blessing. Nurture
Yeah.
that, cherish that, um,
Yes.
enjoy it. But I think it's
Yeah.
like I'm learning a lot that there's not one way to do it, and so getting comfortable in it looking different than others.
Yeah. And I think we need different things from different people sometimes. Like I have my core, like we're called the Six. We live together in university. I've known these women for a very long time. Let's say over 25 years. If someone's doing the math, it's been a long time. But these are, some of them I see once a year at our annual get together. Some of them I see a little more regularly. We live very close, and you think we should see each other more. You think we should talk all the time. But these women, I just know they're there no matter what. And when life happens, they are there. And they are, just knowing that they're there is all I need from them in my life. And just because I don't see them as much as maybe I see other friends or do as much with them, they are 100% my foundation. They are the people who know me best and who truly understand me, and I can just show up as my, and that's the type of friendship that they are. I just think our friendships don't all fit in the same box, to your point. And I think it's a lovely thing, going back to your point about find your community, find your people in life and in business. I say it all the time, there's no trophy for going it alone. Bring people with you on this journey of life or business or whatever you're working towards. Um, this is a leadership podcast. It's not a hard hitting leadership podcast, but you're here because I think you're leading the way in a lot of amazing things that you do and how you show up.
I won the leadership award in grade 6, so I feel like this is really fitting. So yeah,
This is so let well, that's okay because I was called bossy in kindergarten and won a couple leadership awards, and here we are. So
I feel like
it's all being
same,
put to
right?
good use.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all being put to good use all of a sudden. Um, how would you, how would you define a great leader, or what is some of the best leadership advice that you've received or given?
Two things.
Okay.
Live well to lead well.
Ooh, yeah.
Like it's that simple. Great leaders live well lives. And I mean, like, they're well inside, internally and externally. The best leaders to me in my life, I think about one in particular. I'll give her a shout out. Her name's Kara Claypool. She is one of the most brilliant females that I know. And when I started working for her, I was, well, first scared shitless of her. I was like, whoa, this lady's
Good
insane.
start. Yeah.
And it was her focus, her attention to detail, her drive to solve things, the way that she had processes in place and structure. But I was wowed because she lived a well life. She had her own
Mm,
battles and her own things to fight for and figure out. And she had, endured extreme loss and was a single parent and doing all these things. But Kara took care of herself. She didn't
mm,
miss a lunch hour. Like literally, you knew that at 11:51, if you were in that woman's way on her way to the gym, you were going to get bulldozed down because nothing would stop her from that. But then
mm,
she'd come back in and she knew her numbers and she was fueled and like she had boundaries. She was at her daughter's soccer game and like I was just like, wow. And so I talk about living well to lead well. If you want to lead other people, great leaders are healthy leaders. Like I don't think they have it all figured out. Like they're not perfect. Like they still have junk at home. They still have stuff at work that they're figuring out, but they're focused on wellness. And then that translates in how they take care of their team. Because you don't want your team to burn out. You don't want your team not to have the tools because the second piece of advice that I got from my business mentor, Roger Lang, who is an absolute brilliant consultant, travels all over the globe. But he said this to me about my marriage, which has translated into now business and into my family life. He says, Jessica, the advice was, Jessica, find somebody that you're really good at problem solving with because life is about solving problems. I think we've attached negativity to problems. Like it's
mm.
like, oh, this is like we got another problem. And I almost like, well, how can we reframe problem? Like, what's a better word? But it's like, oh, got another obstacle. Like, who isn't navigating another freaking obstacle? The world is
Right.
fast. Bills are coming at us. The demands. I mean, no one's doing leisurely sports activities as a parent now. I was like, I don't remember my parents being this busy. And now I know parents 7 nights a week are at 18 different activities. And then we
Mhm.
wonder why we're all starting to go slightly cuckoo. Like the world's moving fast. As parents, there's demands. We have more bills. We all want to take the holidays. We're doing all the things. And I used to fight anytime that there was a problem. Anytime there's a problem, I was like, oh, making it mean that the world's, oh, another thing. And now, like a huge shift for me is I've made peace with problem solving.
Mhm.
And I think great leaders have made peace with problem solving. They're not like, oh, Bob, I can't believe we have another problem. Like, it's like we're
Yep.
working in a world where we're dealing with people, whether we have AI influencing what we do or not do. Like, we're working in a world, we're dealing with people, nothing is staying the same, which, what a blessing. We're constantly changing and growing as people. And great leaders have made peace with problem solving and are willing to find a solution. And that for me,
Love
as a
that.
leader in my business, as a mom, as a leader for other females, that I hope they look to me and say, oh, yeah, as a leader in like my marriage, my husband's also a leader, but in all of those things, all these areas, it's like make peace with solving problems and you'll find a lot more flow and a hell of a lot more joy.
And I think great leaders don't even realize that they're solving problems. I think they just show up and do what needs to be done and see it as, you're right, what can we call it? Because it has such a negative connotation and people get
Yes.
really bogged down because it's like, I have so many problems. I'm like, or do you have a lot of opportunity? Oh, maybe opportunities. Maybe that's a good one. Do you have any opportunity to work through some of these things to get yourself to a better place, to grow. Like I think about a world where there's no problems, or a time, like I can't even think of a time in my life I wasn't dealing with something or some things, or helping someone deal with something or some things. Yeah, there's so much growth that comes from that. I love that. That's a wonderful, very unique definition that I would very much agree with and lean into.
I just
Staying
wrote
on
it
that
down.
topic.
I was like,
Oh, you
that's
wrote it
it.
down?
Yeah.
She's
I
like,
like, look at this is me. I take notes because I was like, oh,
it's
don't want to forget
brilliant.
that. Yeah.
When someone comes back to you and requotes this to you after listening to this episode, you want to make sure you get full credit for it, because it was, yeah, brilliant for sure. Talk to me about, this is a topic that I'm always fascinated with, is your definition of success.
Another stupid question that I hate. Like honestly, I was like,
I'm full of
why?
them
Why do
today.
you,
So I mean,
I
yeah.
know. I'm like, you're pushing me and I love it. Um, I mean, like the cheesy thing is like success is the life that I'm living right now. And a part of me was like, well, actually it is. Cause like you like I know when
I
I'm
feel
in
like
the
that was Larry's voice that you just used. Your mind, Larry. Like that was, you're like, I'm going to say this, but I'm not bought into it. But here we go. Well, this is why I find success so funny. And this is why I love bringing it up, because I
yeah.
interview very smart people who are doing amazing things. But do you think anybody could find like a succinct way to describe? It's like, it's not even a thing or a place or it's like this ever evolving thing. And I think my definition of success sometimes changes daily. Um,
Mm.
I don't
Well,
know.
my
I think that's why it's so fascinating.
the tides are turning here, and I wish I had a low mic so I was like dump dump dump. But what's the best definition if you've asked this question to other leaders that you've interviewed? What's a definition that you heard that really stuck out for you in regards to success?
I'm going to butcher it, but it's kind of this idea of it's the journey towards endless opportunity.
Ooh,
Like
okay.
just, it's not a destination. It's not a thing. You don't know once you've arrived, because you'll see people will set goals, they'll get the title, they'll get the money, they'll get the thing, and then you just want the next thing. So we've already established this. It's this moving target, but it's like the journey of endless opportunity. And I think that's all for me. It's like I just want opportunity, I want choice, I want to be able to do what I want to do when I want to do it. It's and there's no specificity to it. I mean, certainly success is, there's some things that I could probably narrow down. Like I want my family to be happy and healthy. And these are, that's a huge part of my definition of success. But I would say the journey of endless opportunity just allows you to live and continuously grow on your terms and chase whatever you want to chase and go after whatever matters to you. And you can shift gears and pivot and change directions and drive in circles as much as you want, because that's your choice.
Yeah,
Way to
that's good.
deflect the question though, Jess.
No, I was writing down. I was writing down
Okay.
because
Okay.
like we got asked this question at Impact 11, like how
Mm,
do you find success? And then they'll like type it in the chat. So you're typing it in the chat and then you're seeing all the
yes.
people with their definitions of success. And I remember this was a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, and I said, the life I'm living right now, like that would be my
Mm,
definition of success. And if
yep.
you look at my bank account balance, you are not like, and you and I've openly shared this, and you were like,
Yes.
hey, if you ever need help, I'm here as your friend with zero judgment. And I, have not had the courage to make the call and be like, Marissa, it is time to help me
I
with the dump.
am waiting by the bat phone should you ever need me, but I suspect you've got it handled.
That's to be determined. I mean, let's just say this: when superpowers is, I always figure it out, but when great people offer that, but like I think people like you can define success as like what's in the bank account, like what type of house, the car you drive, like all of those
Mhm.
things. And for me, I look at success as like the internal thing. Like I've been successful at like keeping the business alive and running this, but and my husband, and him fighting his own journey because he's also a small business owner, and we weathered some major storms during COVID. But success is like this being content, and it's that word again that I
Yeah.
used to just hate, with where your feet are planted and finding fulfillment in the life that you're living. And I think
Mm,
that's in like whatever area. Like
yeah.
and again, you can hear the theme of like my brain offers me a lot of stuff like you're not doing enough as a mom, you're gone too much. Like, there's all these people who have opinions and will pour into that. But it's like, man, I asked myself this question: if I got hit by a bus,
Hmm.
like, or it was like, man, this is it, like, tomorrow's your last day. Like, did you make it count? Like, did you make it count with what you were given with where you're at? because there's still lots of things I want to go and achieve. And it doesn't
Of
mean
course.
I'm unsuccessful because I haven't done them. But like the success piece of like, man, I've lived a successful life. Like I've loved somebody, my husband so deeply, so dearly. I've worked so hard on that. I love my kids. My life as their mom looks way different. Not easy, not perfect. And so I think it's just like having those moments of just being like, I'm in the thing. I took some brave, bold moves, and like I'm really proud of what I've achieved. And I know that there's still lots more. So, well, I have breath in my lungs and a beating heart. This is my reminder to everybody, because I need this reminder. Is like, I still got more in my tank. So I'm still going to drive and show up and fight and
Yeah,
struggle and rise again to go do more. But I'm also really damn grateful for this right here, right now.
I agree. Me too. Me too.
Mm-hmm.
Where can people find you? Because I know people are going to, if people are not already finding you and are not already following you, where can people find you to learn more about you and to hear from you?
So come to Calgary. No, I'm just kidding. It's like, here's my
We're all getting on a plane. Yes.
Yeah, I live in Northwest Calgary. I love my little neighborhood. So easiest two ways on social are LinkedIn and Instagram. I've done a terrible job the last month and a half of showing up because I am tired. But those
It's
are
all
the
good.
places I play
Okay.
most often, and that I'm sharing kind of my everyday journey and what I do. And then as well, just my website. It's jessicajanzen.ca. And if they're looking to connect with me about speaking or coaching as well, we have an amazing charity foundation in honor of our son Lewiston, who passed. And we do a lot of charity work here in our city and then coast to coast here in Canada, helping families that still have children or adults living with spinal muscular atrophy move and remove those barriers and obstacles so kids can play sport and can get to and from school in wheelchairs or whatever else it is that they need. And so um,
Mhm.
you can learn all about it on the website, or if you check out my Instagram profile, the Jessica Janzen, only because Jessica Janzen was taken. And then when the girl finally was ready to sell it to me, I was like, too late. My book went to print. I now have committed to the Jessica Janzen. So
I shall now refer to myself as the.
yes,
Oh my
as
goodness.
the one and only. So
One and
Marissa,
only.
you are such a spark of joy. And I just want to say thank you for showing up in a season that's really hard. And we connected and then we tried to connect. We've had many obstacles to have this conversation, but we connected a few weeks ago in Toronto and you made such an effort. And I was like, hey, I'm not ready yet. Come up while I'm doing my makeup and I'm half dressed and like, blah, blah, help me close my suitcase. And you are just like one of the people that like when you're there you just feel like at ease and peace and you can see how
Mhm.
much you care genuinely for people. And I just want to say thank you for that gift, and I hope you keep surrounding that. And then to those people that either get to work with you or have the opportunity to hear from you as a speaker, as a moderator, as you know, on your podcast, what a blessing. So thank you for
Thank you.
stepping into what you were called to do, and I'm grateful for our time together. I just wish we lived closer, especially because I found out you have a pool now. I wish I could like come over and lay on a
Well, I
lounge
hope
and be
one of
like,
these days
Marissa,
I look
get me
outside and
another
I just
bubbly.
see you in my pool. Yeah. Yes, I don't deliver drinks. That's my husband's job, but I will make sure
Hey,
you're fed and I will pick you up
okay,
from the airport anytime.
good. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I have some holds for some Toronto events. Now we just got to close
Yes.
them. Yeah.
Yes. No, it'll happen. We've now put it out into the universe. It's going to happen. And I have to say, anyone listening out there, you are an amazing speaker. You're a remarkable keynote. You do such a good job engaging people in the room, and your message just lands with everybody. Your book is wonderful. You are wonderful. And I thank you for those kind words you shared about me. But honestly, I'm going to send them right back to you because you are. Um, such a wonderfully unique person, and I'm so wonderful grateful that I found you, and now I get to call you my friend. And people should follow you whenever you're ready to start posting again. People will be there and they will consume your wonderful content and learn all about you. So thank you, my friend, for being here today, and I look forward to collaborating again and seeing you in my pool someday soon.
I love it. I just hop on a flight and I'm like, here I am. Thanks, Marissa.
Perfect. I can't
I love
wait.
you. Cheers.
Bye, hun. You take it easy.